Welcome back on Dinobot. Today I want to propose you a video about the unboxing review about the Legacy Evolution Dinobot Slug Core version. This is something that it's a combiner part, and so this is, I can say, a review of the Volcanicus, that it's the combination of all the 5 Dinobots, but this is quite small because it has really quite small dimension, and I wanted to buy this because I was not able to find to a reasonable price, and for sure the bigger the normal one, and I wanted something quite close. So I decided to buy this because I was missing. I decided to start, even if this is not the first of the series, because there will be 6 combined, but we'll see quite soon about this, and because it was the one that I liked more, and have yet, and I'll show you another one that it was the previous Slug, the original Slug of 1985. So I decided to buy this because it was my favorite, okay, and so step by step I'll buy also the other ones. So this is what I wanted, and I'm quite glad to have. So this is my start to have all the Dinobots finally, and so we can begin to see a bit better about such ones, because there is really quite intriguing things to say and to see about. So we can begin to see about the box itself. Here we can find that there is a hole here, so you can touch directly the model. I don't like such thing. I prefer that it's covered with something or the closed box. I don't like that you can have some dirty before you receive. And it's similar to what we've seen for another code, that it's Rumble. And so it's not a problem. But the difference between these two is that here we had these ropes of plastic one that were a bit of problem to remove. Instead here we had these little shoulders, so it's easier to remove and play with the model without having to go crazy to remove everything. So I think that it's quite nice. Here it's, as I said, the Triceratops. Here we can find the image. Here we can find the model itself in artistic word. Eventually, if you think about throwing the box away, cut these parts because it could be quite nice to see. Here we can find the Scorpions and so on, and other models of such saga, so it can be a quite nice thing to see. You can see that it's a Legacy Evolution core model, but released by Hasbro, and it's a Takara Tomy one. Eventually, it's a Dinobot, and it's a Autobot, because till now I bought only the, like I said, the shown as models, but this is nice to have them. Here we can find the alternatives that we can find. So we can find the version of Triceratops as model, and this model itself in robot mode. We can find that it has 8 steps to transform, and this is the second of 6. So there are 6 models to combine to gain the final model, so Volcanicus. But I decided to start from this, even if it's not the first, because I was preferring this as model because it's my favorite. So I decided to start if I had to collect from this, and I liked quite a lot. So now I only need to open this, see the model, and make some comparison, and start to have a bit of fun because it's quite nice. Here we have the instruction to convert it. Here we have this square that could be quite intriguing to see the result. And here I suggest you, here the guarantee as usual. And as usual, I suggest you to see about this, because they can allow you to understand how to convert this model. Moreover, you can understand that you can have this, that it's the shoulder pads and the head about Volcanicus here, and it combines perfectly with the other model that is Slug, that is the number 1, but it's the worst of the models as conversion. And here I will transform the model from the robot to the Triceratops, so we can really use this quite usefully, because it's something that you'll need for sure if you're not, I can say, adapted to make that transformation. And here we can find that here there is this that you can simply remove these ones, that it's quite simple as you see, and remove the model from this. Eventually you can take this one as a sort of background to make photos on, so eventually it could be useful, or eventually you can throw away, but I suggest you to keep it, because anyway it's something that allow you to take this in order so that you can position it here and put other things on, eventually other models, without occupying too much space and at the same time having it protected. Eventually you think about how you prefer, or simply throw away, but I like quite a lot. And so here we have the model, so we can free here so that we can see the legs that has quite a good game. Here we don't have the elbows so that we can move and flip here, but it's okay. But the head it's convertible, so it's not a problem. Here technically it should be closed like this, but I suggest you to open this, because if you do so you can also turn this, and so it's much better than having everything combined, and I think that it's much more similar to the original one, so I like more like this, even if they sold you with this closed, but I prefer this. Is the weapon that you can find here, that you have to combine with this hole, so that you put this the weapon, so okay. But I want to remember you that this is quite important at least, because if you remove this part, here it's the head of Volcanicus, so it's quite important, and this it will be combined with Slug to be able to positioning everything together, so remember about such, and remember that this is also the tail, but we see, so we only need to go to transform about this, because it's anyway really quite important to see also how it is the alternative model. First that I forget, we can analyze also a bit about the model. There are a lot of those, these ones are crazy ones, but remember that should be a cheap version of the model itself, so okay. Also here, this one, it's an important hole, because we'll use this head to put here later, and here also it's quite important, so there are also here when you convert this, but when you convert this or use this to combine with Sludge, that it's quite important to combine with the model to combine in Volcanicus, and so it's really not so bad. I think that it's one of the best of the 6 that you can have about such. So now we have only the need to transform it in the Triceratops, because I'm quite curious to see it. And so here we had the alternative version. Technically it's quite slim here, so it's a bit of a problem. I don't like such things, but it's okay anyway, it's not a problem. Eventually you can think about using some things that you can insert here to cover such holes if it's really quite problematic. Here I would have preferred something better about the hands that could disappear. The head I'm not problematic at all, because technically you can open this and you can't move, because it's without this that you can rotate, but when you close this you can't anymore rotate this, so this is a bit problematic. There are a lot of holes also here, these ones for example, these ones, so on. Remember that this could be useful also to personalize, because you could be combined with other junctions, with fossilizer, weaponizer, and so on, so that you can anyway personalize even better such models. So anyway, it's quite nice. So now we can simply try to transform it in the way that we can see how it would be to have this in the version for having the combiner, no? And I quite like such a model. And so here the part related about the model of the combiner. So it's something that I repeat, you have to combine with Slug to be able to have the full control about such model, but I don't dislike. Here you have the attach about the shoulders and so on. So it's something that you can improve quite a lot having all the others or at least Slug together, because in that way with this and Slug together you have the main part of the body, so the center part of the body, and you can then associate with other combination that I think it would be quite nice to go to watch with Queen. So it's quite nice. And here you can see the comparison of the new one core version and the 1985 version. So we can find that it's really quite smaller as dimensions on, but it's also quite similar, so I don't dislike it at all. I have this version because this was the original one. The grey version, at least where I live in Italy, arrived quite a lot later in my country, and it was not so easy to find and much more expensive than this. So it's quite nice. Anyway, you can find that it's quite similar but quite different. But I recall a lot of the things related. But we see that the most part that they are quite similar, it's in, I can say, robot mode, because I think that it's really even more similar, even if there are quite important differences. Okay, if we compare this to this, we can find that this it's almost a third less in height than this one, that it's the original one of 1985. Here we can find some difference. The first one, that we can rotate the head. Instead here it's fixed. The head anyway, its face quite similar, so it's not a problem. We have also this one that you can see the hole that, but it's a combiner, so it's not a problem. Instead head here we have the is we can keep off, but it doesn't have any particular utility, at least that I know. Here we can find about the arms, that we can find that these can be put inside and retracted and move only so. Instead here we have this fixed, here fixed too, but we can move also in such a way, so we have a bit more flexibility. About here we have this, that it's the tail that becomes the weapon. Instead here the weapon is a simple way to stabilize the model itself, and the legs here are fixed here, as you can see. You can make this, but you can't put here. Instead here we have this way, so it's an option. And another thing is that the legs are quite flexible, so we can play with it quite pay attention. Instead here the maximum that we do is here, so it's a problem to do a bit more than this movement, so we have to pay attention. About the back we can find that the wings I suggest you to keep up, because if you play as it should be done, it's closed, and it's no problem. It's a problem because you can't make such movement with the wings closed, but anyway it's more similar with the wings open to the original one, so it's quite interesting. Then we have another change about the head, that these are fixed. Instead here we have that they can be moved a bit, and the part about here it's a transparent one. Instead here it's a full one, you can see anyway anything. About here the legs, anyway you can see that it's the same, that they are hold, so it's not something that it's completely new, or you have to be, oh my god, they were better than once. So sincerely, if one should ask me if I prefer the older one or the new one, the older one is nice, but I admit that I like quite a lot. I think that this 3.6 is one of the best of the Dinobots that I've seen about creating Volcanicus here. But remember that this it was a really old model. There was not about a combiner, and it was as it is. There were the other models, but each one was step alone, so you would not combine them and so on. And I quite like anyway such models. They are quite ancient, but I like the new one and how it has become, so I quite like a lot. Talking about core models, I want to propose you tricks against Rumble, so that you can find quite a lot of difference in size. So it's not bad at all, and they can be quite seen, quite nice. Anyway, this is something that it's full accessories and so on, but at the same time it's quite small. But remember that it can become a music cassette for Soundwave, so it's completely different. So if you compare these, I think that it's not bad, and they are quite proportioned if you think that these are core models, but in the core lines they are quite nice as compared in size of the relative in the films and so on about the series about Transformers, so I quite like them. Here we can compare this that it's a core model against this that it's a Voyager model, and we can put this here, so we can find that anyway this one it's much less higher than this and should be the opposite, so it's quite a change about the dimensions along the years, but these are quite nice, so if you buy other cores they should be quite in scale as we've seen with these, so it's not a problem at all to create. Eventually you have to choose if you want this or others. Eventually remember that there is the version of this that transforms in the stereo, but I have this one that it transforms in an IV, and I made a video about. So it's how to decide which type you want and if you're okay with the core versions or not. It's up to you to decide eventually. And here we can compare the old 36 with the new one, and this that it's a ratonite of the fossilizer, and we try also to combine them, so we can find quite a lot of different in size, but I want to remember that these are from the same period of time of releasing, but this is a Voyager style instead this is a core one, so I can understand the difference, but I want to see also them with other comparison when they are transformed, so that we can really understand how big it is in the Triceratops mode compared to other types. Remember anyway that these are different scales, so the Styracosaurus against a Triceratops eventually. And here we can find a comparison of this, that is the actual 36, with this that is the fossilizer. Here we have the old 36, and here this one that it's from the Games Workshop one. So we can find that even compared to this, it's a bit smaller. Okay, so maybe you can't use this as a proper substitute about this, but I don't dislike it. Eventually you could use as a sort of alternative. So it's a nice vision to have some referral about what you can gain from such model, and compared to the other parts. Remember that these technically are Voyager class, so they are a bit bigger than this one. Maybe this is the look. Anyway, it's completely different one, but it's still quite nice to see them together. Okay, I tried to combine Ratonite with this only, but I have a problem that there are too many holes with the pinch it out and not too many that are the holes to put inside in Ratonite, so I have such a problem. But still I realized something quite intriguing, strange but intriguing, so I like, okay, I need more weaponizer or at least Sludge to create something a bit better, so it's not a problem at the end. But anyway, it's something quite fun, you know? So it's nice. So what to say about such model? I like, I'm totally agreeing that it's awesome. So it's a core model, but I like. I don't know if I like all the other ones, even if I want to realize Volcanicus, so I buy all the other ones. Still, this alone satisfied me completely, so I'm quite glad to have such. So I have quite a lot of fun with such model, even if I had to play it with a robot, the Dinobot version, or try to combine a Volcanicus and realize what it is. So it's something that I quite appreciate. So, from Dinobot it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.